to the East Coast adventures that Abigail and I had. And today's edition is the beauty of Prince Edward Island. So I was stationed in PEI for 1 week here out of a little place called Panmure Island. And on the first day, I went to a little beach here at Souris on the hunt for some sea glass. And while I did find a little bit of sea glass, I found more beauty in the water. A little hermit crab just doing his little thing in his shell in the water. So fascinated with this as an Ontario girl because we don't have creatures like this in our lakes. So it was really fascinating to see. Encountered a jellyfish as well, which was pretty interesting. And I was really enamored with the little patterns that were left in the sand from the creatures and the vegetation. So of course, I had to photograph that. So I spent some time on Panmure Island, which you'll see is up here in this part of PEI. This is the lighthouse at dusk. Very pretty little lighthouse. And in the day, this is the roadway that we would drive by. And on the other side of those dunes was the water. It's the beach. Oh, the gorgeous water. Lots and lots of pretty water pictures. And this is the beach and the lighthouse. And I stayed down the road over there, kind of back in. And I ran into this little fella on the beach, which was a very interesting story. I thought he was covered underground more. But as I was walking along, I had thought that it was a shell buried in the sand. So I just kind of used my toe to kind of flip it up a bit. And then this little fella popped up and started to move. And of course, I was terrified, but intrigued. So I spent quite a little bit of time playing with him. I pushed my boundaries and picked him up and checked him out and put him back in the water and photographed him a bit. And all the little dude was trying to do was bury himself in the sand, probably so that he wouldn't get picked off by some overhead bird or whatnot. And I just had to play with him a little while because it was very interesting. This is the shoreline at the beach and the gorgeous dunes that we had to walk through to get to the water. It's a little farmhouse by the lighthouse. Our grasses. All right, so the next day was a very big tour. Okay, so we stopped at St. Peter's Harbor Lighthouse, Cove Head Harbor Lighthouse, Inn of Green Gables, and then we went to Rustico and Cape Tryon Lighthouse. So here's some of our views there. So this one, the first one is St. Peter's Lighthouse. This one was just so lovely. And on the other side of it was the water. It was just an incredible beach. Some of the stuff that I saw in the sand, on the rocks, the grasses, and there's that red sand of PEI as we're driving away from that lighthouse. Then our next lighthouse here we stopped at was Cove Head Lighthouse, I believe. More grasses. And then Anne's. And then we headed up to Cape Tryon. It's a beautiful, beautiful drive. Love the little colorful cottages and houses and boats and in the derelict houses They were very lovely. So this is at Cape Tryon. Yeah, I believe that's what it's called. All the birds on the cliff there. And that's the lighthouse. And these were our gorgeous views. Look at that. Isn't that just stunning? Oh, wow. And we ended up getting there at sundown, so it was kind of nice. We were very, very far from Panmure Island at this point, though. And then this was North Rustico. Stopped there on the way back. We had a little lighthouse there. All right, so that was a big trip. There's so much more photos, but I'm just condensing it to just a few to give you a little taste of the beauty that was photographed there. So then another day trip was up to Basin Head Provincial Park. That's where they have the singing sands. So on a hot sunny day, there's a high silica amount in the sand. So if you brush it very gently with your feet or hands, it's known to sing. However, the day we went there was overcast and we did have some rain, I believe, the night before, so the sands were not dry. So we did not get to experience the singing sands, but we did get to experience the beauty and check out those cliffs. Absolutely stunning. Again, I was caught up with the patterns in the water and the little rocks and the little vegetation marks and just the patterns that the water made in the sand. And the sky was so moody, it was just perfect. That's one of the cliffs. This is my favorite creation from the whole trip. Just the kids playing in the water at the beach. And then we went down the coast just a little bit and had a beautiful view. All right, so that was a very quick showcase of that long day. So then on another day, we went from Panmure over to Point Prim Lighthouse, and then we stopped in Victoria by the Sea, which is over here somewhere, and then we headed up past Summerside to the glass bottle houses. So here's some photos from there. This is the Point Prim Lighthouse, and this is in Victoria by the Sea. That's their little lighthouse. And these are the glass bottle houses. And I was enamored with this old fallen down structure. And then spent some time on the Panmure Island beach. And this particular day, I was blessed with all these lovely patterns in the sand and leftover grasses and rocks. And it's almost like they were trying to tell a message, like hieroglyphics or something in the sand. So I was quite caught up in photographing just the natural occurrence of what was on the shore. This one reminds me of a jellyfish. It's pretty cool. I love this one. Totally reminds me of Arabic writing. And this one. So that was our little beach day in Panmure Island, photographing the beauty there. And on the last day was heading over to Nova Scotia through Wood Islands, the ferry that goes across the strait. So this is that little lighthouse. And that's all for PEI. So I hope you've enjoyed having a little taste of the beauty that was there. The next installment is going to be the Nova Scotia trip. Lots more beauty there to see. So thanks so much for sticking through and watching and hearing the stories. If you're on Instagram, head on over to my profile there, vision_faux. And in the little circles underneath my profile, there's lots more behind the scene footage of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and PEI. So you can enjoy that there. And stay tuned. Eventually, I will get some of these beauties up on the website so you can enjoy them in your space. All right. Well, I'm going to leave it there. I look forward to sharing Nova Scotia with you next, and keep seeing the beauty that surrounds you.